Oh yeah, guys, this is nuts. I'll just let Tucker dig his own grave over here. This is pretty crazy. Great content. Congratulations to the homies over at Breaking Point for coaxing this out of them. This is absolutely unhinged. Guys, let me know if you are getting Scientology's evolution in Tucker's future, because that's how I walked away from this. But I think he's going to do his own like proxy of it. He's not, I don't know. This man's unhinged. This is beyond even what I would stretch. I can't tell if he believes it or not. I don't know. I want Gavin to weigh in. He's the real alien expert. He's the extraterrestrial, religious end of the podcast. But anyway, without further ado, let's hear from old Tucky.
I think I know the comment you're referring to. It was on Clayton Morris's, an old friend of mine called Clayton Morris's podcast. A great guy, really interested in this topic. And I said that there are things that I don't want to talk about. And I, as usual, didn't fully explain myself. If I had, verifiable facts about this phenomenon, I would immediately put them on the air, because I'm committed to that completely, because my whole life is about that. So I should have said more clearly, I can't be certain. This is just what I believe based on, talking to an awful lot of people about this, some of whom I trust a lot, some of whom I trust sort of. I mean, you're trying to piece it together from lots of different places, but no, these are my views. Okay. They can't be proven, but I think they're informed views. The phenomenon is real. It's been recorded for thousands of years. We know that. There's something buzzing around us in the skies, but also under the oceans, we now know, and probably underground as well. So it's real. The government's lied about it a million different ways, probably for a million different reasons.
He said under the water and probably underground as well. I haven't heard that one. I've heard the underwater theory. I think actually our good friend Griffin brought that up. He was like, I think they're actually, coming from underground or underwater, something like that. But I've never heard the underground one. He's saying like we got fucking moles and shit, like UFO moles running around in the dirt underneath our feet. That's fucking crazy,
bro. The pyramids did not build themselves, bro.
Reasons for at least 80 years. That's also confirmed. They're lying about it now. Who knows what their motives are? And they're also trying to keep a lot of the stuff from being disclosed. That's true.
Yes.
So to those people, it's like, it's a psyop. Well, yeah, everything's a psyop. But I know for a dead certain fact, and it's provable, that, say, Mitch McConnell and Speaker Johnson and people who should, and a couple committee chairmen who should all know better, are trying to prevent the UAP Disclosure Act of 2023 from taking effect in a meaningful way. So they are trying to hide it still. That's a fact. My own view is that these are not aliens. There's no evidence that they've come from somewhere else. We would probably know. We've got a lot of technology that's watching what comes in and out of the atmosphere, and there's no evidence of that. I think they've been here forever. This is my view. Again, it can't be proven, but I'm just telling you, after a lot of conversations, I think it's likely that the U.S. government has had contact with these, direct contact, and over a period of years. I find that really disturbing, because and a bunch of other things that I.
What does he think they are, if not aliens?
He's getting to it. Don't you worry, Gavin.
He's going to say the fucking lizard people that are ruling us all, fucking Hillary Clinton, actually turns into a UFO at the end of her workday or something. I'm excited.
That are highly distressing that I can't prove, and so I'm certainly not going to throw them out there, but I'll tell you this. I've talked to a lot of people about this, not because I've never been interested in UFOs until like 5 years ago. And I was like, wait, this is real. What is this? Why aren't we talking about this? I'm just like coming at it from a totally idiotic, I don't know anything, curious position, which is my normal posture on everything. And so I've talked to a lot of people, and my view is that this is my opinion, that there are things about this that are really disturbing. And while I hate any kind of government secrecy, and if I could prove any of this, I would say it immediately, consequences be damned, I do sort of understand why they don't want to let this stuff out. It's not about, we've got fragments of one of these crafts at a Lockheed, facility in California, and we have biologics from the craft. Everyone knows that that's likely true. Well, it's certainly true that they have the, pieces of this stuff. Yep. But I think it's likely that it's darker than that, and that the U.S. government is, I say the U.S. government, people in the U.S. government, not the U.S. government, but there are it's the largest human organization in history. Parts of it, have knowledge that is very, very disturbing. And I personally strongly think that there's a spiritual component to this that I don't understand and will not pretend to understand. But I think it's very clear that there's a spiritual component to this. That's one of the reasons the Vatican, and I'm not Catholic, but has been involved in this for over 100 years, has an observatory.
What the fuck?
Et cetera, et cetera.
What does he think? They have the fucking Ark of the Covenant or some shit? They got the Holy Grail? Like, what is he implying? That the angels are UFOs are actually angels from heaven or something? I literally don't even understand what he's implying here.
I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to thread a long needle, bro. I think he's trying to thread a long needle for the Tucker Carlson network. And it goes from the people who are following him from Fox News that want to believe exactly what you just said, that it's angels. Exactly. There's definitely the obvious Christian component. But then you get the whole like alien crowd, the whole like we've been lied to about science, the crowd, the people that the like the Joe Rogan adjacent, you know, what if we'd actually discovered all this shit 100 times before, and then like the Library of Alexandria, just all of human knowledge disappeared, and then we restart, you know, you get those people in with this one. You get the people who are out in Hollywood with big bags that are into Scientology, because it's like that could be he's talking about the Thetans, we know about them, but he can't know about them. They're making up his whole body, but he's not ready to understand that he needs to come to our training, right? Threading the needle. He's getting everybody. He's getting all the kooks and the quacks and the conspiracy theorists, and he's rounding them all up. And he says, I've got my opinion, because I don't want to have to be put and say, I can prove this. I'm not saying I can prove anything. I'm just stirring the pot and saying exactly what I can to make sure every conspiracy-minded person or religious affiliated person that would ever potentially sign up for my own subscription services, maybe I do know a little something. Maybe Tucker Carlson, maybe old Tucky, old pal. Maybe I've been around some people who got to see some things you didn't. Well, I've said many times I can't prove it, but maybe I know. Maybe I don't. I sure as shit would never want to be put before a court of law to say that I'm an entertainer after all. But I built my whole career around the truth, except for when I'm standing before a judge, right? Yeah, you guys know how Tucker runs.
Yeah, that's just crazy, bro. I haven't even really heard that theory. Like I've heard the Vatican stuff, but I always kind of thought the like implication there was like, yeah, we found aliens, but then contacted the Vatican or something because we didn't know how to react or respond. Like, I guess it would sort of make sense if, you know, say in like the 1950s or something, literal UFOs or aliens, you know, like touchdown in the United States of America. Like, I guess it would sort of make sense to be like, oh, well, let's reach out to the Vatican because clearly this is a matter of existential and potentially religious weight. We need religious expertise to weigh in and help us figure out how to go forward now that we know there are not just human beings that are alive. Like, we're not the only advanced life form. We're not alone. Like, I can sort of understand like seeking religious advice or whatever. That's always kind of what I assumed that Vatican thing was about. I clearly don't go down these conspiratorial fucking rabbit holes to the extent that a lot of folks do. So I'm honestly a little bit confused on what
brush up.
Yeah, I really would like to hear a more fleshed out version of this conversation, because I truly don't even know what Tucker's referencing there other than like angels or maybe religious artifacts with magical properties, like some Indiana Jones kind of shit or something. But like, I just like, I don't know, bro. And he's like, well, I don't think it's aliens. We have no proof of that, but you do have proof of something spiritual.
Oh,
yeah.
But remember, he said like 100 times. He took like 3.5 minutes to get to that spiritual thing by saying, well, we know the government wants to hide it. We know. People like Mitch McConnell, what do? They don't make these things public. They're not passing this bill to make it public. I forgot which one he referenced, but you know what I mean? He does that whole thing where he like gish gabs for a while. He asks a lot of questions and then he answers them, and he like postulates to the audience. He says, of course I can't prove any of this like 100 times, because then after that you're just free to make up whatever you want. You're like, this is my feeling, this is my personal belief, and then it's like you're absolved. So he's just making sure now that you know, he doesn't step in shit like saying that those election machines might have been broken, and they might have been, you know, rigged by Hugo Chavez or whoever the fuck. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, that was crazy. Was that the end of the clip? Saagar really didn't have much else to add.
That's all that I'd watched on Twitter that I pulled for this. I just wanted you to get Tucker's reaction, or like not Tucker's reaction, but like Tucker's like pontification on that. But we can go and pull up the entire clip. It's on YouTube. I'm sure we can find it.
I think it's at the very end here. So I do want to see if Saagar responds at all. I believe this is where Tucker probably stopped talking about the spiritual stuff. One sec.
Very clear that there's a spiritual component to this. That's one of the reasons the Vatican, and I'm not Catholic, but has been involved in this for over 100 years, has an observatory, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's pretty obvious that these are not men from Mars. That, I think that was a psyop, because I think the truth is a little bit wilder and has deeper implications just than that.
Giving us even more to think about. Tucker, I want to thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, Saagar didn't seem to have much to add.
Not biting on that one.
No, and Saagar does seem to be pretty in on the UFO, like it's extraterrestrial / alien beings theory. From what I can tell, I've never heard him bring up any of this like spiritual stuff. Maybe he has. Correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, I haven't watched every single second of Saagar Enjeti's various podcast appearances and all that stuff. So maybe he is into all that. But yeah, I would like to see like an article or a video explaining at least what this theory is or where it comes from, because honestly, it just sounds like gobbledygook and like vague references to some shit. Like it sounds like someone just read the Da Vinci Code last week, and now they're like, "Oh yeah, you got the Vatican over here. They got an observatory, and they're looking up at the skies." So
that's exactly
there we go.
It gives such like Da Vinci Code energy. It's like, the stonemasons and the all that kind of shit. Anyway,